Yeah. Hello, everyone. I think we are already live now, but maybe we'll just wait a couple more seconds. So, again, hi, everyone. Just before we get started, we'll wait, like I said, a few seconds more for all registered participants. We usually do some kind of testing. So, yeah, we are well known from automated testing, but we'll do some kind of manual testing right now. Guys, are you hearing us? And oh, cool. Hi. And if you are hearing us correctly, just use this chat section of our webinar show to respond to us. Yay. Hi, Natasha. Natashqua. Yeah, okay. So, yes, we can hear you. Thank you, David. Cool, amazing. So, where are you from, guys? We can test the chat again a little. Maybe some guys from UK, some guys from US. Maybe someone from Poland.
I see your dog wants to join our session today.
Yeah, UK, cool, amazing. Maybe someone from Orlando, Florida, because if you haven't heard, we have been on the Dynamic Community Summit in North America, in Orlando, together with Bart. We have make a very cool prelection about the test automation purposes. So yeah, guys, okay, cool. The UK, cool, amazing. Remember to click and subscribe our Executive Automats YouTube channel. I'm Rafał Nyszewski, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar, Secure System Stability with the Test Automation with Dynamics 365, FO, FFCM, Go Live purposes. Okay, the chat is on. Okay, the couple of housekeeping things before we get started. The chat is on. We have already tested that, so cool, it's working. Also, we are recording the session, and we'll send the link to the recording to the email address which you have registered with. So remember to check every email boxes which you have. Okay. Also, of course, if you will have any questions, guys, during our show and our presentation, use the chat section. I will go back during the question answers section of the webinar to those which we haven't been addressed yet. Okay, cool. Moving forward to agenda of today's webinar. First, we will tell you where to embed the test automation in implementation of the D365 environment. Afterwards, we'll move to the point which will address the security verification in the implementation process. Next, so we will jump into the performance and load test topic after the implementation, because yes, you should do that and check if your environment is probably correctly configured. And last but not least, what I have already mentioned, the question and answer session which will be performed live. Okay, today with me is Bartosz Piech. Hey, Bart. Our product line manager responsible for Executive Automats framework. Okay, guys, so yeah, the stage is yours, Bart.
I think that's the part. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for coming in today. We're going to move to the agenda, to the parts of the presentation. Please ask as many questions as you've got. Please also let me know if the voice is audible and always good, so I can correct if necessary. Overall, today, this is going to be, for us, quite a crazy session. We are just coming back on track from Orlando, indeed, trying to catch up on topics and planning the end of the year, which is always busy for us. We would like to share with you some approaches, some ideas, some concepts we came up after those 10 years of being on the market. And since these topics are very often missed, it might be good to actually try to see how it is actually on your side, with testing, with performance verification and security, and then try to rethink about that. The first point, were to embed test automation in the implementation process. This element is very often hard. We all know that Exapta from the older versions, this environment and overall ERP systems are tested by the business users, which is kind of a problem because the users are overwhelmed by day business they do. And when they are hearing about doing additional stuff, additional job they have to do, and it has a very tight deadline, they are super frustrated. So very often, the first time they're going to do that, secondly, they will simply we can say cheat. They will just tell that they've done it, but they haven't done this in exact quality that you expected. So in the result, you are promoting to the production environment unverified model, unverified package of the application. So you can expect some possible instabilities. Within the implementation process, where to install, when to do the testing if the application is changing, is you are actually developing and delivering multiple packages to the overall CRP implementation process. So we found out that it is effective to when you are identifying the fit and gaps, all fits, so all functionalities which are out of the box, compatible with your application, they can be used and tested, or they can be mapped with the test case, an automatic test case, straight away after identification. And the gaps, so gap, which means that the functionality which needs to be created or modified, since the standard is not aligned with your needs, then you can simply create the test automation within the sign off, within the acceptance of the business user that they've done the verification of the particular gap. Overall, if you don't have your test plan, if you don't have your test cases, it is good to engage the business users on the UAT process. On the UAT process, when they are testing the system, the shape of the system, before they're going to get live. So they are accepting that the functionalities they need, they are existing and they work ideally as they are expecting. This is the moment when you can actually try to record everything they do and try to chunk it into the processes. If you're going to do that, and if you're going to sort of set up a proper naming convention for describing the business processes, with a naming convention which will also outline what this is exactly about and what kind of variant the process represents. This might help you with further stability after go live, because everybody, what we see now, they are confused and concerned about the go live because it is a huge effort to do that. But then when the go live actually goes, it went through, success, perfect, everybody's cheering. And then one version which comes, and then you have to actually repeat all of the test cases over and over. If you will use this advantage of identifying processes on the UATs, it will just make this journey of the updates of the one version much, much more predictable. Let's move into the second part. Okay. Where to embed security verification in the implementation process. Indeed, for the UAT, it has to be ready. So it might be too late to do it on the UAT. Why? Simply saying, if you're going to think about the UATs and the security in the dynamics or overall role-based systems, every system which is role-based, the UATs, they need to be perfect. They need to show you the exact image of the system, how it's going to look after go live. If you will not perform precise security configuration before the UATs, the users will accept the image, which will be blurred by the admin rights. So they're going to see multiple functionalities. They're going to have much worse learning curve that we can actually create. They will simply be much less effective on the go live activities on the go live day. So it is good to prepare your security package before go live. So on the go live, they are before the UATs. On the UATs, they're going to tell you guys, the system consists of the all functionalities that we want to have under production. It works well, and it actually has no limitations from the security perspective. So what you gain learning curve, you gain the effectiveness of the user, plus you also gain the licensing model. So licensing means that the users and the access they've got simply reflects the TCO of your dynamics, in a shortcut about security. And following that, we also prepared for you the performance element, which is kind of uh, understand it as impossible in the current moment, and helped or possible only with blueprints, which are not tests but are just mathematical, just maths, how to estimate your potential load of the system, which is not ideal. I'm going to explain you why. So, one of the capabilities we've got within our tool is simply playing back processes in background, which means that you don't see the execution system is doing that by planner, by scheduling functionality. Due to the fact that you can run the parallel sessions, you are able to tell the system, all right, let's run 30 sessions in parallel. And we can say, what is 30 sessions? 30 sessions in parallel on the one process is enough to kill environment type tier 1, sometimes even tier 2, depending on the processes. But tier 1, it could be good enough to see that. We've got some tracks records that it was quite simple to run 30, then up to 50, and then show each time it actually fails. On tier 5, it is getting much more complicated, but the blueprints you are giving to Microsoft, they are some kind of estimating what you need for running go live and after go live quite smoothly without planning so much your scalable rollouts, which you've got on the roadmap as well. So I'm going to show you in a moment also the case study we came up with one customer in US, where they wanted to verify the actual value of the blueprints versus what they are planning to do within go live and then subsequent rollout. And the results were astonishing. We were able to prove that the blueprints were not enough, and Microsoft needed to push up a little bit the hardware, increase number of AOSs to make sure that the application will work good enough. So we are trying to, within the implementation process, trying to set a date where we're going to do one day after go live, which means that we are trying to think of the whole scope of the processes which are going to be done, focusing mostly on those which are executed in multiple instances, in multiple numbers. And we are trying to map these processes and execute them in a very tight period of time. Let's say 650 users performing sales activities, purchases activities, customer creation, some warehouse transaction, some corrections of the transactions on the purchases, maybe some fixed asset depreciation, just kind of a countable number of processes. We run that and we are observing LCS, fortunately, because the Azure portal, the monitor from Azure doesn't exist now yet for tier 5 environments. You can also use Zabbix, but we are doing that verification if our system can work with that load. What else you've got? You can actually hire your entire company for that one day on Saturday before go live to see if it actually works, which can be quite expensive. So ideally, at least once you have to do that. The minimum is one time the test of the after go live, before go live, and ideally on the UATs you should perform that performance checking activity after each package delivery to verify if it is not having impact on the overall system performance. So each UAT upgrade, each model triggers the performance testing to build some kind of a KPI. So that's the performance story, and of course we're gonna walk you through quickly just through those topics, but we are trying to do as much as possible data gathering and case study gathering to give you that what our customers were fighting with, what the community was fighting with, and we are trying to overall solve your problems within Dynamics implementation. Because we believe that only with community, in such a powerful way, we can beat up SAP quite quickly. So that's the overall goal, to help you out, all guys, to implement Dynamics with significant successes. On the screen now you see the LCS of the 12 AOS's environment. I think it is quite readable, but on the left-hand side you've got the memory which was available, and the CPU which was available over that period of time. 650 users were able to maximize most of the business AOSs, and simply we killed those AOSs and they were back up after a moment, but significant number of sessions hanged. They were trying to get into the AOS which was not responding, so we can say that we had downtime on most of the open sessions, which is not acceptable, which can definitely cause some damages to the business, some irresponsiveness, and so on. So after this exercise proving that this amount of users is too much for the current setup, they were able to tweak values which came out of the blueprint. And that's simply the way how we helped to prevent just using the blueprints for scalability and for hardware configuration of the environment. So
thank you for that, Bart. So before we'll move forward to executive automats, because we want to show you that this particular topic which we are speaking, Bart is mostly speaking, but we are speaking, and what is the topic of today's webinar, I would like to ask you to take the advantage of possibility to sign up for your EA trial. So with the link of which will be shared in the chat section right now, you can easily book yourself 2 weeks of free trial. So use in the comments, you will see just like within seconds the link to the trial. And now, Bart, if you may share the screen with the EA, and we will put on the stream, and we'll show you guys EA, how our tool is designed to deal with all those topics which Bart have indicated before. Okay.
Exactly. Yes. Let me share the screen and let's dive into the executive automats. All right. Okay. So overall, what you see on the screen. Let me just take the StreamYard, so I'm going to see your comments. And yeah, please ask as many questions as you've got, so I'll be able to address them and simply walk you through are more like a tailored session. And this is something we always do on kind of a trials and starting sessions. We are showing you this application tailored to your needs, to address your concerns, to address your testing problems. So on the screen you see the Executive Automats. It is a platform which is not an extension to Dynamics. So you are accessing the portal, which can be hosted on premises or on cloud for different types of Dynamics. So if you are running on-prem, very strictly access to Dynamics, we are just deploying application and connect to your Dynamics by proxy. Thanks to that, you are actually not seeing any changes in your Dynamics. You are just accessing the Dynamics through executive automats. The only extension we are having for executive automats is so-called executive automats for security setup, and that application is actually an extended module for Dynamics, and that you have to actually deploy to get that security context of these particular business processes. But this, maybe let's leave it for a separate session. If you're going to be interested, Rafael and me and our whole team can schedule a session to discuss that in detail. After you log in here, of course, you have to have your account. You can see most of the functionalities, which is called script. Basically, script is nothing else as end-to-end process. So simply saying all processes like sales creation, customer creation, purchases, so on, you can define them as processes, as scripts. Then the scripts, they are aggregated in the project section. The aggregation is critical because this gives you some predictability. It gives you flexibility because you can run on Friday evening multiple test cases from a particular area just to quickly verify the stability, just to run quick smoke tests in the area that you are thinking that there might be something wrong. Of course, you can test everything, but if you've got significant number of test cases, this might be helpful. Um, there are different approaches how we can build that structure. It might be module based, it might be workstream based. See here, AP, AR, FNA, and so on. Or hire to retire, procure to pay, sales to cash, lead to sell, and so on. Different approaches, different organizations. This might be very effective. And also, we are very often creating a security, 3, 4 security processes. Um, so when you are starting to use the executive automats and you've mapped a bit the idea, how you're going to approach that, and actually, this is nice to say that we are delivering you not only software and support how to use that, but also you've got multiple videos, documentations how to use the tool. Plus, we are very often helping the customers how to build that test cases structure, how to plan the tests, or even record test cases for the customers. So they are able to gain the benefit of test automation from the repetitive execution of testing. We also have some on site partners in different locations. Right now, over 70 partners across the globe to support you on the test automation journey more locally. The scripts here, let's create new one. So I'll be able to show you how easy it is and what is the major focus for us when it comes to process recording. Let's record an account receivable process in free text invoicing. Of course, we can set up some more complicated naming convention. We can also place some process code on the top. I can select the environment, which means that the executive automats can be treated or identified as a platform which helps you record test cases on one environment, and then just by changing parameter of the environment or the user, play it back on another environment, let's say on dev, from testing UAT, or from recording test cases on UAT, you run this on pre-prod or pre-release, and so on. So you can define all of your environments in the configuration of the system, and then simply switch it. And the virtual users, the Azure Active Directory domain account, which we use for testing, this is also set up in the settings. So I don't provide passwords, I don't provide anything. I'm just selecting what user to use for testing. This helps you work with workflows. This helps you testing the security access. So we can run specific process against a row with less access and a row with more access to see different results. Right hand side, the recorder panel, which identifies all actions on the way we go with the business process. So starting from module, menu item, we're going to go through the free text invoicing, and then we can select some customers, so on. Everything you're going to click can be identified, and if you're going to make some mistakes, you can quickly correct that. So I can delete actions, I can change my focus to record actions in a different section of my script. So it simply means that you can work very efficiently on the script creation. So you are saving time when it comes to editing and making the script ready for regression testing. I've clicked twice on the main account. I can quickly remove it from the list. So I'm going to have very clean process for playback. Unit price editing, and when we are ready, we can post our invoice to simply continue with the transaction. If we think about testing, you're going to see multiple functionalities focused on, we can say, reusability of these test cases. We want to do all to make sure that your test cases recorded once, they can be played back multiple times, which means for fields like number sequences, for product receipt IDs, for invoice IDs, for some names of the customers, you can apply there a number sequence. So these number sequences are set in our configuration module. You can have tens of them for the process. So then you run one process not 10 times, but even 1,000 times without modification. So then we believe that is the maximum benefit of having automation ready, that you don't spend time on the maintenance of it. Even if you want to modify, you are able to open it up on the right hand side and quickly adjust by activating some steps, making them optional, and adding some logical verification. And jumping in actually to the verification, it is worth to say that the verification can be very, very deep because we are focusing on the happy paths, which means that you are able to check if process is doable. Then we verify results, which means I can verify tax amount, statuses, so on. According to the results, I can jump in right, left to see optimal way how to end up transaction. In the meantime, we are having some questions. Actually, I just want to take a look if this is in the context of the current session. If yes, variable data for fields. Perfect question. Thank you, David, for that. So I'll be able to match that question quickly for you. So up right corner, you've got something called an inspection. Inspection gives you the chance to catch any value existing on the screen. You can take definitely anything, including an info log.
Or maybe I will show for this question.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. So where would we enter variable data for the fields in D365 to enable us to validate the test using different inputs? Okay, so I'm gonna show you a few things. The first thing is the validation, the catching values. So I can take an example, posting profile or a status, which actually is not shown here, but we can take the posting. So I can take value from the field and save it as a variable called posting profile. And I can create that with a condition, which means system can save value from the context and then make automatically a validation that on that step we are expecting in this time that the value in the field will be equal to general. If there will be something else, then warning, please check. If I'm going to catch any other value like invoice and I would like to verify that later in transactions, I'm able to save this as invoice ID. And then simply saying, I will get this value and put it in the filter on the subsequent steps of the process. So this can help me with having an end-to-end script, starting in customer creation, saving customer ID, taking this through sales to purchases, purchases to master planning, and then continuation coming back to sales again. And this stream is interconnected through that IDs, which you can catch, compare, and change. And actually, David was also referring to different inputs, and that's very valuable because in here we are using customer 04. So if you're going to make this a little bit more flexible by, let's say, changing the customer from US 04 to a possibility to use an Excel file as a data source. So in Excel file, I can bring 10 different customers, and then system will run 10 times in the loop the same process, going through the rows from the Excel file. It will verify one process against 10 different types of variants of the process, checking the same inputs, checking the same statuses, checking the same values which are essential for the process. We can think about that from the customer perspective, as each customer can have different behavior, can have impact on the behavior of the process, or we can think about that as golden process. So we can have customer creation in Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Lithuania, and France. And these processes are quite the same, but they've got just different data sets. But the Excel file can jump from one to another one, doing for you a golden execution. So one process is verified in every entity. And this is something we recommend because this is effective. This is effective from the perspective of reusability. You have one test case, and maintenance is simply cheaper. All right. The example, we also have one question which is quite interesting from the James. But if I may, I will just answer that at the end, as this actually gets a little bit out of the current context what I want to show you. So, James, please, if you may spend a little bit more time with us, I will address your question closer to the end. Yeah. So, coming back here, constant means that constantly you're going to use this value for execution. If you're going to use here picker, this can give you a possibility to extend your business process, your test case of the Excel file, number sequences, global constants. So we can think of, you've got a like set of values you use overall throughout your all test executions, like pins, logins, WHS, sites, and you can just change them in one place. It is distributed automatically everywhere. Advanced codes. You can invoke OData, REST APIs, and we see more and more very advanced usage of the tool, which we not even think of. Invoking some DIN classes from the system, which are doing very advanced changes, or invoking NPIs or batch jobs from this, or invoking some API by HTTPS. A lot of possibilities which are waiting for you if you are more in code, you are more developer. We can benefit from that very quickly. Okay, to make it simple, I'm going to just leave it now as it is. I'm going to switch back to player, and we can, for consistency, check if it will work. I see that I've got in here a double header click. I might need to delete that, but let's see in a moment. On the right-hand side, system shows us statuses of each step. So every step which is executed will have its own status. So if you're going to have some error messages, warning messages, I'll be able to work on them. By saying work on them, I can use my integration with DevOps. Executive Automats is very tightly integrated with DevOps to embed pipeline executions, create test cases, bugs, and incidents. So it means if I'm going to find out here some problem, system can quickly create an issue in DevOps, and I can apply developer, so developer can play with the process to find out what exactly works wrong. Yeah, so this means that developer, when developers inform about the bug in the system, they don't need to have a very broad context of the problem. They can play back the test case, and this is the value of the test automation. Number of different values, of course, that are existing, but this is one of the nice values that the developers can easily play back and get to the problem. Yeah, David is also asking about the Azure DevOps integration. Indeed, there is an integration about that. Actually, this streams line with the presentation. So indeed, in here, you are able to set up definition of your DevOps, and then simply saying you can go to the history, observe the results, and convert error message into the work item, and then browse to the work items. So we are transferred to the DevOps, and then
Sorry, Bart, that I'm interrupting you, but there's also a very cool feature about the playing the test execution through the pipelines, yeah, with
exactly
integration with the Azure DevOps.
Exactly. As Raf is mentioning, you are able to create these issues or run them from pipeline. There's also integration with test plans. In regards to the pipeline, you're going to see here our extension you can place on the pipeline. Yeah? Run on Executive Automat system. And thank you so much for these questions. They were very helpful. Maybe now addressing that we are closer to the settings area. As James was asking regarding the CE integration, you may see in here a lot of applications available. And one of the applications we've got is actually a customer engagement application. So you are able to record a test case on finance and operations and then jump into something else and then jump back to the FNO and continue with that business process. So, James, if you're going to be interested in testing customer engagement, you are able to do that. And we also want to make it quite clear the overall values and overall functionalities. Mostly they are created for finance and operations, as we are. This is one of the purest and the most focused for us, but for a few practically over a year or 2 years now, we are evolving with customer engagement to give you quite the same amount of functions and stability in customer engagement. You're going to see that the customer engagement is very dynamic, but we've got very nice feedback from the market that this works very good for that testing. So highly recommending to see as it is and test it on the C. Yeah, so we've executed the process, we've got success, we've got history of the execution, everything green, everything is good. I can start and play back that in background. So play, background, documentation, and document as a result, which means that I don't see execution. System is doing that on the server side. It is opening up Chromium, it is dispatching the execution, and we're going to be informed about the results. And this is all about the scheduler. Friday night, we go here before to tell the system that on Friday night, when we're gonna drink some nice beer, we can actually plan also the execution of the test cases to end up our work sooner. So I can plan the Friday regression, and I can tell the system to run it just results on DevOps, please, and notify me when it's ended with email address, and you can switch some configuration here. And having this, you are able to add in here multiple scripts. So in here, in the scheduler, when you were planning the execution, it might be essential to have that structure of the project to be able to use that now, because you are able to make a filter, make a query to pick those processes which you want to test, which are ready, which are some kind of a published. The application has multiple features to help you with the team execution. If you have multiple users working on the testing, multiple testers, business users, a test manager, they can work, they can communicate by changing statuses. They can benefit from the documentation created out of these also. So if you're going to make a filter on the published status, you will just run those test cases which are ready and nothing else. So I can make those lists, and I can tell the system, Friday night, activate, let's see, let's wait for the results. In the meantime, we've been just informed that our execution succeeded. So I can download the documentation, which for us can be understood as a proof of testing, that the testing was done on that day. Apologize, didn't know that Word will now open up all files we were working on from other project, our internal project. So now we can see here the invoicing script, success, that day, that user, that system. And I have my screenshots with outlined use actions we've performed, every selection of the customer we did, main accounts, verification of the results, and so on. This is a document which can be understood as document as a guide how to perform the business process. It can be understood as a proof that you've done the test on that day with that result. For highly regulated industries: military, pharmaceuticals, aviation. We've got a sub product which is so-called automated boost, which has multiple features to help you out in that highly regulated industry. So you will see and benefit with multiple other elements, and our development, which is fully auditable for the end customers. So this is out of the box. You recorded the test cases for your testing. Just by product, you've got documentation. Also, I'm able, with the extension, of course, I'm able to extract from this business process the entry points, so I can build a security role to access the system to that process. So that's kind of another game changer you can benefit. So you are covering your stability. That's the major goal we wanted to share with you today. Stability means from the performance perspective, from the testing perspective, from the security perspective, also from the knowledge perspective, that the users are learning quickly enough these business processes. Mm, yeah. There is a much more to show you over that session, but since we want to keep it simple and make sure that you understand everything, and leave, of course, some questions, some time for answering your questions, please write them all on the chat. I see that we've got more questions from James, some question from Nata.
Natasha,
Apologies for
something
this
like that.
pronunciation. Um, yeah. So starting with James, thank you so much once again.
Yeah, guys, one thing which is more worth mentioning again. Remember about this free trial program of ours, because you can do and test it by your own environment. To be honest, and your own environments, everything which Bart just showed you. So yeah, we'll go right now straight to the question and answer section.
Yeah, and we
So
appreciate every feedback from the trials. If even if you will not like the tool, if you're gonna say why, it will
yeah,
be important for us so we improve.
exactly, especially, to be honest, because we as the very into our product, and we want to make it better. So
We love
every
constructive
single
criticism.
every single information feedback from you guys will be very worthy. Okay, so maybe we'll start again from the all questions. Bart, what do you think? Again,
Let's maybe
we'll
follow up the James
follow to the.
question, and then with maybe something more will pop up. If not, then we can.
Okay, cool. So that was the. Thanks. Can also so thanks for the earlier answer. Can I also ask a full integrated test between CE and FO be automated as one test?
Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't shown you that today, but your test cases, they can be understood as pixels or blocks from which you from which you build your end-to-end test cases. So this simply means that you can record finance and operations, take the data, move it to customer engagement, and then come back to F&O. So you can have an end-to-end stream through the different test cases in different platforms. So that's indeed possible in one test.
It seems like, well, yeah, we can do the full integration even with the web-based application. So imagine that you have like integration within like Magento or something. It's also doable with Executive Automate. So you can basically create like end-to-end testing scenario between all those three platforms with inspections, checking the data inputs between the systems, integrations, APIs, everything. So I see, Bart, that we are almost become more popular and more because we're having a troll here.
Yeah, more and more trolls. Somebody likes us so much that they want to share some photos. Anyway,
Going back to the questions, James, if you have any more questions, just feel free to ask right now. Oh, there is
there's one more, but the Natashka actually was.
Yeah, it's quite good question, so we want to also answer to that.
Thank you, David, for
Thank you,
reporting
David. Go.
our trolls. Yeah, our set, and that's a very nice story. I would love to elaborate on that, but I don't want to take too much of your time. In a few weeks back, one of the engineers from the Microsoft. I think it was Frank Dahlman. I can verify that for you later. They announced that they are canceling roadmap for RSAT, understanding that the RSAT will be not anymore developed in the way as it was till now. So it will stay as simple as it is and as
Yeah.
complicated in more advanced usage as it was. So it is a problem that the market is quite frustrated, but we see. I can tell you now that after Orlando Summit, which is one of the biggest user group summit in the world, 5K people in the one place, we had so many questions, and we've got new competitors in the market, which are coming as well. So we see that the RSAT fall apart is for us some kind of a fresh breeze and a nice wave for us because we are here for over 10 years and
Yeah.
yeah, we know the stuff, we know the tool, we know the dynamics, Exaptas from the 2.5 version, and
Yeah.
that's something nice for us. There are a lot of comparisons, battle cards prepared from the RSAT where it was very quickly expanding and going up. So we can show you those. We can show Natashka those documents. But as it is now more deprecated solution, I think is not so much needed to talk about that
Yes, I
today.
remember this quote of this Microsoft guy who shared with us. It was like they are physically stopping the roadmap. Yes, am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like something like that. Yeah.
Somebody also told the best thing where RSAT is better in the best thing where RSAT is a king is to create this frustration on the end user.
And
Something like
yeah,
that.
we are way different than this. So don't want to give you a frustration. We are just basically holding your hand through this test automation journey. So especially that we have built this tool for our own purposes in history, and we have determined this niche in the market. So yeah, we really know what is the background of that. So okay, following to the next question, the question from James.
I think actually it is connected to the Sekuran as well. This might be like a follow up,
Okay.
so we can show we can read those two in the same. I
So
mean,
you mean
just
this one or?
no. You mentioned performance testing at the beginning. The demo seems to be purely automated test execution. Yeah, the load to do test and parallel is actually quite connected to what James asked in the
Okay.
call.
You mean this one? Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Exactly. We haven't done today performance testing so much. We just executed in the background, showing the concept. Indeed, you are able to run in parallel number of executions. The calculations for us is not stopping us even performing over 600 sessions in parallel, which means that you can simulate quite heavy instance. We don't have limitations for that. We haven't noticed limitation. We've done on-premises performance testing and on cloud performance testing. These are more they need resources definitely. So this is a project we have to plan with you, but if you're going to be interested, we can schedule with you a quick demo where you can see how you can do
Yeah.
that on the exact environment, how you can do it on your environment.
James, you can reach us out. There will be a contact. You can reach us out via YouTube or via LinkedIn accounts, and also we will see the contact list. Also, not contact list, but the contact details to us to schedule you a demo session. Also, you can use the Executive Automat's webpage to schedule the demo session for you. So feel free to do so, and we will be able to. If you will put the comment that you want to focus on the performance testing, we'll do so for you. So feel free to attend to visit our webpage. Okay, cool. We have like 2 more questions. Bart, this is the Simon. Will the EA tool also work for in-house web applications?
Yeah, it should work as long as you don't have very complicated iframes or some drag and drops, which we are not working so well as they are
Overlay
not existing.
menus, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so these elements might be not out of the box, but overall the in-house web applications should work as well. And also, it is nice to mention that you can extend the executive automates. These advanced codes which you saw before, we see developers are extending that so heavily that they are working with some shops of their own, some time registration applications, or some auction internal applications. So that's
Many,
a
many things
pretty
really.
crazy story how users are expanding the tool.
The use case scenarios are just limitless if you are having these capabilities of coding. But also, we can serve you with such kind of services if you would like to, as our team. Okay. I think the last question from David is the tool a license model or the capex? So this is the licensed tool. So we have like 2 licenses, but in the details, I would rather go with the direct communication with you, David. So feel free to reach us out via the contact form on the executive automats, and we will go there and describe all the possibility in terms of licensing models, because there are, I say, few options, and really depends on which you will be most suitable in your particular situation. Okay. I think we have like 2 more questions. Part. What environment type theory should be used for performance testing? Well, but I think you have already mentioned that.
Yeah, we were discussing that, but indeed, it should be higher than tier 4. Tier 5 is highly customizable. It might be custom, which means Microsoft can scale it, but tier 4 is a minimum. If you're gonna run this on tier 2, 3, 1, the test will be inadequate. It will be a waste of resources and time and the project. So
And the tier will be easily killed by the executive automats.
mostly yes, it will. It also be overwhelm and give you no valuable outcome of these
Yeah,
tests.
yeah.
And we've
And
done that sometimes. We are starting the performance project, and the customer tells the application is ready, you can test. And then we run 100 sessions just as a starter to gain some KPIs, and then we see that the application actually died. And then we
yeah,
ask, yeah, because we wanted to see exactly that this is possible. We didn't know, and we just prepared for you tier 1 environment. Okay.
so don't do that, guys.
Yeah, that's
It's a little bit worth of not worth the resources which we are using for that. Okay, last question was like, can we do the performance testing on Accepta?
yeah. If you are understanding as Exapta as the AX
Executive
2012
yeah.
or 2009, even that's possible. You are able to simulate that. The same tool which you saw is available for 2012. So for those one which are still on the 2012 and not planning the upgrade, this might be a solution.
Yeah. Okay, I see that no more questions are here. Thank you all for, especially David and James and Simon, for the questions. Many, many thanks for that. And yeah, please take the advantage of the free trial program, guys, and reach us out for demo session if you would like to see all the topics which was shown in our webinar today in private demo session. Okay, guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach us out. We will be happy to help. Again, thank you for joining us today, and yeah, have a lovely day ahead. Cheers, and see you next time.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
See you soon. Cheers.